Welcome to the TikTok podcast. The clock is always ticking, so let's synchronize our watches and dive in. I'm your host, Callie Brigham, and I'm here to help you make time for what matters. Hey there, friends. Welcome back to the TikTok podcast. I am your host, Callie, and if you're listening in real time, summer is here. We are in June and school's out, scream and shout, right? New season, regrouping, having some summer strategy. And one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about today was how to streamline some things, how to give you back some time so you can enjoy the summer, so you can enjoy the longer days in the sunlight, maybe vacation. So we're going to talk about automation. Oh, that just rhymed. I kind of like how that just happened. Automation so you can go on vacation. Okay, that was not really written down anywhere, first of all, nor the intent of this. However, I kind of like how that flows. What about you? But really, we're going to talk about automation today. That's our conversation. Okay, I'm going to stop right now because it could just go on and on and on. And really, the idea of the automation that we're going to talk about today is what are some things that I do repeatedly? What are some things that you do repeatedly that can be turned into a system that is automatic? That is something you don't have to keep thinking of. You don't have to take time and energy to invest. Boom, it's just there. It's done. Check it off the list. Go about your life. How's that sound? Now, some things that we automate can be tech, and some things don't have to be. Today, we are going to talk tech, though, and I'm going to put a lot of this content in the show notes in case you are driving or cooking dinner or multitasking or outside on a walk, whatever. So I'm going to put some of these things in our show notes for you so that you have access to them. Okay. Now, even though I said it's not about the non-tech stuff today, I just want to remind you that anything can be automated. Anything that you do more than once can be automated. So remember, we've talked about meals in the past. Maybe again, every Tuesday is Taco Tuesday. Every Monday is chicken. Every Wednesday, you get the idea. You're still going to have a variety throughout the week, but it's really going to help you when it comes to just mental energy, right? Maybe every Friday night is pizza night and leftovers are on Sundays, or maybe you meal prep on Sundays for the whole week. Got it? All right. So those kinds of things can be automated. Things like your wardrobe, you can rotate out. Did anybody see, by the way, the amazing documentary on David Beckham? Okay. There's a little bit of language, a little bit of stuff, but even if you weren't like me and totally in the whole scene of David Beckham and Posh Spice, I mean, who did not love that, right? That was just like match made in heaven. But his documentary is pretty incredible about what it takes to be a high level, high capacity human. I mean, the intensity in which he gave his craft, the absolute mind blowing emotional management that he had to have going through really tough stuff and things that were not his fault and outside of his control. Anyways, all that being said, if you watched, he has a scene in there. He's a little bit OCD, a little bit, but he's got a scene where he's got a clothing rack and he lays out his clothes every week. Well, he hangs them up in order of what he's going to wear for the week. All right. That could be automation. That's not techie stuff. That just allows you in the morning to think about something else, right? You get up, you put those clothes on, you go do your thing. Automation can also be like for me, every night, some of these are habits. Every night I put my little tray that has my devotionals and my journals, little tease and a shout out. Something's coming. Something's coming. Okay. Anyways, that is all automation because that's repetition. That's habit. That's not what we're going to talk about today. So here are a few things that I do personally. Now, keep in mind, there are a plethora. There's 1,000 other things. There's always apps that are coming on the market. There's always new technology. I get that. These are just some things that are tried and true for my personal life, my professional life. And know that when it's all said and done, I've got a mic drop thought for you at the end. So don't go anywhere. All right. The first one that I cannot live without, and I'm going to give you a couple ways that I've used this in the past, are grocery order delivery or order pickup. It really just depends on what works best for you. Grocery order, you just got to do it. Okay. The amount of time that it saves, the amount of money that it saves to use a grocery order pickup or drop off delivery, absolutely mission critical. You do not have to think about what brand of this do I have? Where is this in the store? None of that. Now, I've used a couple different ones. And one of the ones that I did not personally like was the ones where that person is shopping in real time for you and connecting with you in real time. So I used an Instacart one that was with a local grocery store. And what I found was, I mean, I should have just gone to the store myself because during that, 2 hours or whatever window when that person was shopping, I was getting messages from them saying things like, "Oh, well, this particular brand of bagel is out of stock. Do you want this bagel instead?" And then they're sending me pictures. And then I'm like, okay, this is not a useful tool for me at all because I'm having to stop everything I'm doing and help this person grocery shop for me. So I just want to say that you're going to want some type of app or system or tech that will allow them to help you have substitutions ahead of time so that if there's anything that you know for sure that you're not going to want or it's not in stock, you can deal with it and then boom, your groceries are ready. So for us personally, how this works is we come up with what we want to eat that week. Most of it is really similar to what we ate last week or the week before. Occasionally, we'll have a little fun extra in there, but we just basically repeat our grocery order, maybe adjust it slightly for what we have or don't have. And I say we as a family because I make them be part of this. And then we have it set up for it to be picked up on the way home from school on Mondays. That's just how we do it. It just is what works for our family. You can do it totally your way. But that I would say is numero uno is to do your grocery order pickup or delivery. Saves you time, saves you money. Okay, the next one, this is for my iPhone peeps. Androids, I'm assuming you have something like this, but I do not know. So don't hold me to it. But keyboard shortcuts, AKA text replacement. Oh my goodness. I know this might just save me seconds or minutes, but when I multiply seconds over a whole week or a whole month, and it just saves me kind of that repetition piece. So you go to your keyboard, you put in text replacement, and I put in things like my address. So my address is 14 Ocean View. Okay, just so you know. Now everybody has my address. It's fine. That's what white pages are for. It's not like it's secret. So I put in my phone the text replacement is 14O. And anytime, so by the way, you don't want to put in a text replacement that's a commonly spelled word because then that's always going to replace it. And then that's kind of annoying. So you're going to want to put something unique enough, but also something that will help you remember. So when I put in Ocean 14O, it populates. Anytime I put that, it auto fills my address. Now I also have one 14OP, and that populates my address with state, with zip, with city, the whole deal. Okay, so if anytime I'm filling something out on my phone, I type in 14O, boom. I have that same thing with my phone number. And I have the same thing with hashtag sequences. So if there's like a bunch of hashtags that you normally use, you can put in a hashtag and like for example, for our family business, I do the social media for that. And we have a Tip Tuesday. So I have in my text replacement hashtag TT. And anytime I put hashtag TT, it fills in all the hashtags that we use for hashtag Tip Tuesday. So I don't have to type it out the whole time. I have text replacement for birthday messages. So all I have to do is put in their name. I have text replacement for common links. So, like the link to this podcast, I have it as a text replacement, 2 letters, and it populates it. For the YouTube for this, for you name it, I've got for any common link that I'm going to use more than once, my own personal website, you name it. I have a text replacement for my calendar link for people to book appointments with me. I have a Calendly. We'll get to that in a second. So I have a couple letters that are in there, and anytime it does it, it is the link to my calendar. Anything I type out more than once, That is a text replacement. It is so easy, so fun. You can even add in emojis in there. Now, I will say, make sure your kids don't get a hold of your phone because my daughter did one for my age and she texted me and she was like, Mom, how old are you again? And I put in my age, which is 39. Anyways, I put in my age and it populated this whole long, ridiculous message. She's such a stinker. So I have to remember that anytime she asks me my age, I'm like, you know my age. And when I have my birthday in a couple weeks, June 23rd, humble shout out. Um, I won't have to go through that anymore unless she goes in and changes it. The next thing, so the first one was grocery orders. The next thing was keyboard shortcuts or the text replacement on the iPhone. Number 3 is a texting service. So for me personally, I use one called Project Broadcast. I will link that in the show notes. This is what I use for automated texts, and I use this more for my business. So whether it is birthdays that I don't want to forget, and I have a great birthday message, important reminders, follow-ups. And what I love about it is, depending on if you're a night owl or a morning person, an early bird, let's say that you have a lot that you want to communicate, but you know it's not the right time of day to send out that message. Or maybe you are going on vacation next week and you have a lot of messages that you want to go out. You can pre schedule these. Now, I know that Android has a pre scheduling option, the iPhone does not. So, this allows you to do mass text, group text, all kinds of things too, so that you don't forget. For example, let's say that you're even talking to a friend. We could make it personal. You're talking to a friend and they mention that they're having surgery next Wednesday. Well, you can go ahead and pre-schedule so you don't forget. You can pre-schedule a message that says something like, I know today's surgery day. You've got this, praying for you. Have somebody message me and let me know how you did. Something like that. That really allows you to have that personal connection and component, but you don't have to have your brain remember it. So Project Broadcast is the one I use. There's plenty of other ones out there. I will link it to the show notes. Okay, next one, of course, is bill pay. If you're not using automatic bill pay, then you want to do that. I know I kind of feel like automatic bill pay sometimes, like my rear view mirror camera on my car. I don't always trust it. I like to have control, but it doesn't mean that you can't still check and make sure that that statement was correct and double check it if you're like me and you're like, yeah, but don't try to pull anything over on me, but it really saves you. And if you're not going to do bill pay, at least you're going to set up your bill pay online so you don't have to be writing out checks anymore, right? Okay, the next one would be pre-scheduling content. And this is for social. So, as I mentioned, I do the social media for our family business. Shout out to ProClean. It is here on the Gulf Coast. So, if you're anywhere near here and you need anything, look around your home. We, of course, do carpet care and marble, and we have a flooring showroom you can come check out, and we do reconstruction, remodeling, and we also do the big 3: water damage, mold damage and remediation, and fire damage. So we have the emergency services. Those are the ones you don't want to see us coming. But then we have the fun ones when you get to redesign your bathroom or your kitchen or get new wood floors. Okay. So, anyhow, but I do that and I can pre-schedule my content so that I'm not always having to be present and doing it. Again, if I'm going out of town or I just simply want to have one day that I devote to it and then the rest of the month is automated. I do the social media for this podcast, of course, and that is all pre-scheduled as well. If you want to know more about the ease in which to do this and the freebies for it, Meta Business Suite is the way to do this. And if you all remember our guest Liz that talked about social media, and by the way, she does the reels for the show. Yay, Liz. Doesn't she do an amazing job? These are the recap reels. She does those for us. You can go listen to her in episode 37. But she also has a course, and I can link to that in the show notes too. So she has a course that she does and teaches you about Meta Business Suite. So go ahead and check that out if that will serve you for automation. Another one, let's see where we at. Grocery orders, keyboard shortcuts, texting service, bill pay, pre-scheduling your content. Number 6, I don't know how many we're going to have on here, but I've got a few more. Number 6, phone alarms. I use my phone alarms for a lot. You can have them automated too. So, of course, I have my alarm for Monday through Friday. But if there's also repetition, if you have a weekly Zoom and you just don't want to forget about it, and of course, you can have it on Google Calendar. Of course, you can have it other places, but you can also just set an alarm. And the reason I like that is I label the alarms. So I've got my phone sitting right here. It's on Do Not Disturb, of course. But when I look at my alarm for tomorrow, it says beautiful morning and it has a lot of emojis and then has you have a verse next to it. And so my alarm also speaks to me. I have a prayer alarm on here and I literally have people's names. And it all started with a little girl named Evelyn, and it's my Evelyn prayer alarm, and it just goes off every day, and it just stops me in my tracks and reminds me to do that. So, phone alarms are a really easy way. Again, if you're not super techie and you just want to have that reminder, and it forces you to stop and turn the alarm off too. Just be aware if you're going to be in a library or somewhere where it's very quiet and inappropriate, you want to make sure you turn those alarms off. Okay, there's also so many things you could do with a smart home, right? So, my grandmother, we set it up for her so that it's automated when her lights turn on and when her lights turn off. You could have automation for your coffee pot. You could have automation, all of those kinds of things. Again, in just a minute, I'm going to tell you why this is important. Now, let's use a few other tools. These are some of the things that I use for business, but I also use them for home. I love Calendly, Calendly. It is a tech tool. It's a website and an app that allow people to schedule with me. They schedule their appointments with me. They schedule their conversations with me, and I get to block out the times that I'm available and the times that I'm not. And so it's just a really easy way for them to go ahead, get on my calendar, depending on what we want to talk about. They get to choose Zoom or phone, and it puts it into my calendar too. Another tool that I love is boards. This is like a digital filing cabinet. And what I love is you can actually add boards to your keyboard. I have a couple different keyboards down there too, like emojis and whatever. So if I am typing out an email or a text message or a Facebook message, and I want something from my digital filing cabinet. So whether it is, again, a link to something, whether it is a recipe, you can have folders for recipes. You could have folders for invitations for things. I have a folder for the month. So anything that I want to have that is for the month of June, it goes in my boards folder. There are free boards, and then it's really minimal charge if you need more than three boards with different folders. So you can go check that out. It's so pretty. It's kind of an alternative to like a Google Drive. It's much prettier, I think. And so I love using it, but I can go into my keyboard. I can choose the boards app keyboard in there, and I can copy directly from it. So I don't have to go somewhere else, get the link, find the image, copy and paste. I literally go from my keyboard where I already am, and I click on that, and boom, the image or the link or the whatever it is automatically in whatever context that I'm writing. There's a few other things too that, especially for those of you that have a team or you have a business, I'm learning now. I'm not an expert yet, but I'm learning about a program called Zapier, and it makes zaps. It basically allows all of your different tech to talk to each other and to communicate to each other and to be connected to each other. Of course, there's Asana or Slack, other programs like that if you have a team and you have team to-dos and team projects as well. Of course, ChatGPT. I mean, I could do a whole class, and I have. I think I was kind of, as far as my professional and friend group, I think I was kind of one of the first ones to really embrace ChatGPT. I know there's different opinions about it. That is fine. I think that anything can be used for good or for evil. And I love that ChatGPT is like an assistant for me, like another brain, and it can help you automate things as well. And of course, all things Google Forms, Docs, Drives, Sheets, you name it. So those things as well. I want to finish with a couple non-techie things. Think about doing the same thing on the same day. Maybe even every year. So maybe every year on the same day is when you order school uniforms or shop for school clothes. Maybe the same day every year for signing up for activities. Maybe you totally dropped the ball on summer camps. How about, and for example, we love the Blue Angels. They are the U.S. Navy and Marine flight, just epically amazing flight crew that do the jets and they do all the aerial stunts and whatever. So they've got their beach show, Pensacola Beach show, the second weekend of July every year. Every year. Well, we typically always have friends that come in for it, and we love to get a tiki boat with slides on it. It's a pontoon boat, and it's just so much fun. And it can hold up to like 16 people. Well, those get sold out pretty quick. So now I know in February, every year in February, on the same day, I call and I book our boat for that. So that is automation. That's automation. It's automatically in my calendar. Maybe it's things about like same day, every year, every month, when you order gifts for things, or when you have a party or an event. Maybe it's always the second Friday of the month. Maybe your Christmas party is always the first Saturday in December. Maybe those automated things will really help save you time and energy. Okay, this is how I want to end, because I know that was a lot of information. And maybe there was one thing you're like, oh, I never did that. Great. But here's the word to the wise. When you do these things, when you have these automations in your life, what are you going to fill your time with the time that you're saving? See, that's the key. Are you going to fill it with more stuff? Maybe it will allow you to get a little bit more work done. Maybe it will allow you to press pause on some things and to sit on your front porch with a good book and a tasty something to sip on and listening to the wind chimes. Oh, is that just me? Maybe it will allow you, like I am right now when this recording drops. I am in Dallas watching my son. His soccer team won the All-Star. His All-Star soccer team won the state championship for the state of Florida. And we are in Dallas right now. And we are in the regional competition. And I'm praying and believing that we're going to be winning. Okay. Actually, we might be flying there when this episode airs. Why do I automate things? Why do I make sure that things are on repeat so that I can be doing something else? It's so I can be doing stuff like that. So again, what are you going to do with that extra time? Don't just do it to do it, but think intentionally. I am setting up this automation so that I can. Do you see the difference? Not just so that it's one more thing to have to think about and do. No, I want it to free you up. Automation so you can go on vacation, right? Or so you can be more productive. Either way. But I hope these tips helped you. We'll throw them in the show notes for you. Okay. Go Coastal Rush, by the way. That's my son's team. Thanks for listening today. God bless you. Thank you for joining me on the TikTok podcast. Please subscribe, rate, and leave a 5-star review. Your feedback fuels our mission to help you master your time. Set your alarm for our next episode, and until then, make every moment count.